Good morning. Can I ask everyone to gather around? We're going to get started. Oh, everybody got so quiet. That's great. I want to thank everybody for coming here this morning, and I want to thank everybody for coming to this awesome announcement and being so supportive of this community. We're going to start off with a quick video here to kind of lay out our announcement. It'll make it a little more clear and give you a little bit more depth. So Kyle, if you would.
250 years ago, America itself was just a startup. Last year, 75% of venture capital went to 3 states, California, New York, and Massachusetts. The other 47 states fought over the other 25%. And by hitting the road on these bus tours, we're trying to kind of just shine a little bit more of a spotlight on great entrepreneurs building great companies all across the nation.
Steve Case just ended his Rise of the Rest bus tour, investing in young entrepreneurs in 14 cities across the United States.
In each city, we do a pitch competition. The community picks the most promising startups, and they all pitch to me and a panel of local judges. And the winner is picked, and I'll personally write a check of $100,000 for that winner.
So I'll start by telling you one thing that you probably know already, and that is
business operations are getting increasingly international.
I think the only one who's experienced this.
What we need are new tools.
It's QuickBooks for sustainability.
We want to create jobs and an awesome culture here in Cincinnati,
Detroit,
Pittsburgh,
Minneapolis,
Charleston,
Manchester,
Nashville, Des Moines,
Buffalo, Philadelphia,
Go Atlanta,
to Madison,
New Orleans,
Baltimore,
Portland,
St. Louis,
Kansas City, the Raleigh, Durham.
Folks, we've got it all.
The rest is rising.
1, 2, 3,
Rise of the Rest!
And now Lincoln and Omaha. We are very happy to announce to you that Lincoln has been selected as one of the next 5 cities to be part of the Rise of the Rest bus tour by Steve Case. Rise of the Rest is a nationwide effort led by Steve Case, who is a co-founder of AOL, to showcase and invest in talented entrepreneurs, that's always a hard one, isn't it, across the United States. His tour will hit 5 cities in 5 days, investing $500,000 in 5 startups. Wow. And Lincoln and Omaha are part of that. Lincoln has been quickly growing and nurturing its entrepreneur and startup community over the past few years and has received numerous third-party validations, including number 3 city for young entrepreneurs by Forbes, number 4 city for entrepreneurial activity by WalletHub, number 5 emerging entrepreneurial hubs in the United States by Entrepreneurial Magazine, number 10 city for creatives in 2016 by smartasset.com, and the 2016 best large city to start a business in by WalletHub. Wow, we have so much to be proud of. Lincoln is also fast becoming noticed by many other news media outlets, including the one by CBS. I hope you all got to see. We will include it in the press release. It's a 3-minute and 48-second feature on Lincoln and its place in the Silicon Prairie. And Steve Case is talking about how the entrepreneurial opportunities and activity that is occurring inside the coast is just phenomenal. This prompted us to bring him, to contact him to bring his Rise of the Rest bus tour to Lincoln to showcase what is actually occurring here in Lincoln on the entrepreneurial and startup community front, and we were successful. Steve Case begins his next tour in Nebraska on October 3rd, making a breakfast stop in Omaha, and then traveling to Lincoln to kick off our Startup Week right here in the capital city. We agree with Steve Case and his revolution. High growth companies can now start up and scale anywhere, not just in a few coastal cities. We are thrilled that we're going to get this opportunity to show him what Lincoln and Omaha have to offer. I'd now like to ask the mayor to join me up here with this announcement. The mayor has been a champion of growth in this Haymarket and downtown Lincoln and creating this culture in this West Haymarket area. And I know he's just as excited as I am, to showcase this city to Steve Case. Mayor Chris Beitler.
I'm more excited.
Yes, you are.
I am delighted to be here this morning. This to me is one of the great things that's happening in America and happening in our system. If you look at all the changes that have taken place in America from the beginning of the country, I don't see anything more exciting and potentially more beneficial and such a huge doable goal for all the young people in our community and around the country than this revolution that's going on right now with the technologies that you all are working with and the possibilities in front of you to make this country and the lives of the people so much better is so huge. It's just wildly exciting to have lived long enough to be part of it. It really is. So last year, the Rise of the Rest tour, as you all know, stopped in New York, in Portland, and Philadelphia. And now, Lincoln, Nebraska, right? Yeah. When you get the attention of Steve Case, you know you're doing something right. I know that we've earned that attention because Lincoln's quality of life, the affordability of Lincoln, the skilled, homegrown talent pool here create the perfect circumstances for the next Steve Case to emerge right here. We're all well aware of how local standout companies such as Huddle and Bulu Box and Penlink and Nebraska Global, and I am thrilled to be in the position that there are so many, I'm undoubtedly forgetting many that I should mention. What a great start we're seeing here to entrepreneurial dreams at many different levels and many different subject matter. Lincoln is honored to welcome Steve and the tour of the Rise of the Rest tour to our community. The capital city is, I think, proving every day that we have an outstanding environment for visionary entrepreneurs to create successful startups. This is a great opportunity to highlight our innovators, share our city's success story altogether, and to build our reputation as the hub of the Silicon Prairie. As Steve Case once said, what some people on the coast refer to negatively as flyover country is going to be the epicenter of the next wave of innovation. So I'm glad to be here today. I want you to know how proud the people of Lincoln are, my age, any age, every age, of what you guys are doing and creating here in this community. And keep going. It's great stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd now like to ask Brian Ardinger to join me. Brian's the Managing Director for InMotion Accelerator, and he's just coming off a really exciting startup week, our demo days on Tuesday, and we'll have a very exciting startup week too, by the way. But I also want to give special thanks to Brian, who initiated the conversation with Steve Camp's Case, Rise of the Rest tour. That then led to a grassroots social media strategy by our startup community, and multiple people in this room helped push out the message and pushed Steve to bring his Rise of the Rest revolution to Lincoln, Nebraska. Without Brian's efforts, we wouldn't be here today. Brian, please come and give us some more details.
If anybody's heard me speak before, you know how passionate I am about startups, and it's because startups matter. You know, they matter for economic development reasons, to bring jobs, they matter for talent acquisition and retention, but I think most importantly, they matter for legacy. You think about countries and cities around the world, and you oftentimes think about the startups that were built 5, 10, 15 years prior that make those cornerstones. And we are creating the next legacy companies right here, right now, and we're excited to showcase what is being built here in Lincoln and in Omaha across the country. We're excited to share with Steve and the world our community of innovators and instigators, makers and doers, and we're excited to serve as the first stop of the tour for the Rise of the Rest starting October 3rd. I had the opportunity to meet Steve Case a few years ago as part of a conference for startup community builders. And he was just launching the first Rise of the Rest tour, and I knew at that time he was onto something because I could see it happening right here in our own backyards. As startups, our startups are actually learning and growing and connecting to become the next wave of innovation around the country. Companies like Huddle, Buildertrends, Spreetail have led the ways for companies like Flywheel and BuluBox and Opendoors and Travefy. Events like Big Omaha and Startup Week and the Jumpstart Challenge have provided energy and insights and access to our entrepreneurs. And new startups like Noble, Quantified Ag, LiveBy, RaceNote are making early waves, while companies like Gear Supply and Liberty and LeverageRx and Fantasizer launched on Tuesday to an audience of over 600 people, mentors, investors, and community leaders that on our InMotion demo day. So the rise is real in Nebraska. Lincoln and Omaha are poised to be the pioneers in what Steve refers to in his new book, The Third Wave, where entrepreneurs will vastly transform major real-world sectors like healthcare and education, transportation, energy, and food. And if this doesn't excite you, I don't know what will. So how do you get involved? So let me tell you a little bit about what's going to happen on October 3rd. And here's a little preview. So we'll start the tour off in Omaha at a community breakfast, followed by a tour of some of the up-and-coming Omaha startups. The bus will then head down to the capital city here, where we'll show off a variety of startups that are rising here in Silicon Prairie. Steve will then host a fireside chat that will be open, and you can reserve your tickets in a minute. There will also be, and I think this is the most important thing, there'll be a pitch competition where local startups will be vying for a $100,000 investment. That's great. More capital to the new startups will be awesome. And we will then host the kickoff party for the 5th annual Startup Week Lincoln. And that Startup Week will run from October 3rd through the 8th, and it'll just be the cornerstone to kick things off and get things moving. So you can go to riseofrest.com to sign up for information and links to the tour events, and watch shortly for information on how to apply to compete in the pitch competition. And finally, you can get involved today. So at 12:30, Steve Case will be holding a Facebook live stream where all you have to do is follow Steve Case on Facebook to join the feed. And this is an awesome opportunity for local startups, community ecosystem builders to engage with Steve directly, ask your questions, and he will answer them live. So in Nebraska, we're proud to have a thriving and diverse startup community, from weekly and monthly events to strong accelerators, awesome co-working spaces, and plenty of mentors that are willing to help. Nebraska is the perfect place to build a startup, and we're looking forward to kicking off the Rise of the Rest tour on October 3rd. So thank you very much.
Don't go far. Don't go far. Before we take some questions, I want to make one comment. We are very thrilled that he is making a stop in Omaha. We see this Omaha-Lincoln area as one big ecosystem, and we think it's extraordinarily important that we work together and promote it as such. So, and I know some folks came down from Omaha to help promote it with us, so thank you for making the trip. Now we'll open it up for some questions.
Describe a little bit more what this means. I mean, for companies.
So I think one of the things it really means is the fact that a lot of times we're head down Midwesterners, we're building stuff. And a lot of times we don't really bang the drum of all the exciting things that are going on here. And this gives our entrepreneurs an opportunity to have a showcase, not only locally or in the region, but nationally. And so having a person like Steve Case to add some fuel to the ecosystem will be, I think, very valuable. Not only that is, I think, it brings other additional connections. We realize we're in a smaller community and we need connections to the coast and other places that are going to make our entrepreneurs stronger, whether it's capital or connections, and I think Rise of the Rest will help do that.
What are some more reasons that you think you selected Lincoln to come to?
Other than me badgering him, no. I mean, we have been, over the last 5 to 6 years, we've been putting things in place where we have a platform to build startups. And people can raise their hand and say, I want to build a startup and I don't have to go to Austin or Boulder or the coast to make that happen. And I think it was quite frankly an easy sell. We can say, look at Huddle, look at Opendoors, look at BuluBox, look at the things that we're building here. Look at the fact that on Tuesday night we had over 600 people that came out to watch new companies pitch their ideas. That kind of momentum is very easy to sell back to a Steve Case and say, hey, your premise is working here and we would like to showcase that here. Probably, yeah.
You have no idea how funny that is, because every time I see a great, cool T-shirt, ask Tyler here, or Bob, I ask for the T-shirt. That's what I'm all about here. Thank you. I might also pile on here with Brian as well, talking about what a big deal it is. I talked about in my opening comments about those third-party validations, and we talk about how wonderful this community is. We all know how wonderful it is, but when there are other people outside our community saying the exact same thing or validating what we already know, it goes a long way. So Steve Case is maybe one of the ultimates of third-party validations.
Brian, could you comment on what stage of development a company has to be in to pitch in this particular environment?
Yeah, the competition will be open to a variety of folks. I would actually encourage any startup, whether it's seed stage or Series A or whatever, to put their hat in the ring. They will be looking at a variety of stuff. If you look at the companies they've invested in already in the past cities, over 50% have been minority or women-led founders. So that's important that we show that diversity as well. And I think, again, this is just an opportunity to put your hat in the ring, and we'll see what happens.
Does the 100 go to all one company?
Yeah, so he invests in one company per stop, so 100,000 per stop.
Is that likely to be announced while they're here?
I believe it's announced at the end of the competition, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool.
Anything else? Well, we'll all be available still here for any questions that you might have. I know there's a lot of folks from the startup community here for the media to touch base with if they'd like to. Once again, I want to tell you how proud I am of this community and how exciting it is to be here at this stage in our lives. This is legacy, and you're witnessing it, and you've been part of it today. So thanks again for being here.